over to slide 14 for 1 second. Just somebody had a question. Corey had a question about what's the asterisk mean? And so then we've got to spend some time on the certification scheme because most of the questions are around that.
Okay, so the asterisk means the things that are bold are things that are covered in ITIL 4 Foundation. The single asterisk, again, and bold and asterisk simply means it's covered in ITIL 4 Foundation. If there are two asterisks, it means we cover it in detail. So things like continual improvement, change control, incident management, problem management, service desk, we cover those in greater detail. And while I'm on change control, I just want to mention
uh-oh, Donna, I've lost your sound and I'm not sure if it's you or me.
In the fact that change control actually, can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can now.
Can you hear me? I checked my headset.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay, all right. All right. Oh, so I was saying that the change to change control was very intentional with the idea of differentiating organization change control being the control of changes to IT services versus organizational change management. That's something where there was very often confusion. A lot of times people would use that term change management and whoever they were talking to about it would think they were talking about organizational change management.
Oh, gosh, I really hope I didn't lose Donna again. Well, I may have. I'm just going to say
there were sometimes
to everyone,
those situations where we thought we understood each other.
Donna, I think it might be your network. You're going in and out on us.
Can you? Well, I took my headset off because I didn't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can
well,
hear you now.
Gosh, I don't think my headset would have died that quickly, but go ahead. Questions.
Okay. So I'm going to put into the chat for everyone the correct link. Some people were having trouble downloading the link, so I'm going to throw that in. But there are a bunch of questions around the certification scheme. And it is, I'm trying to get back to them. But basically, I think if you can kind of just go through this again in terms of the how to get into the managing professional. We have a lot of ITIL experts on the phone who are asking that question. And then the follow on to that is, what happens if you don't have that many credits and what do you do?
So if you are an ITIL expert or you have 17 credits or you, as part of continuing your ITIL 3-2011 education journey, get yourself to 17 credits, right? So if your ITIL 3-2011 journey is already on your way, underway, and we can help you kind of make the decision in terms of how many credits you have now, like how to proceed forward. But if you either work yourself up to 17 credits, have 17 credits, or you hold MAC, you can take this managing across the life cycle, you can take this single course managing professional transition. There's an exam, of course, associated with that, and you will be granted ITIL managing professional designation. You will be designated an ITIL managing professional, which means you'll essentially be granted, right, all of these individual certs. You'll take one class and you'll be granted this higher level designation of ITIL managing professional. So again, each and every individual really needs to just look at where you are on your journey, how many credits you have, but know that there is an easy way for those folks who have made a significant investment in ITIL 3-2011. There's going to be a straightforward way for you to transition over to managing professional. Notice that this Direct Plan and Improve course, which no surprise is going to focus on continual improvement and kind of the planning activities, is common. And yes, that is in fact the same course in both of these streams. So if you hold the ITIL Managing Professional designation, you already have ITIL Strategist under your belt. So if you want to then get the ITIL Strategic Leader, right, designation, you'll need to take this one course in order to then achieve that certification. So hopefully that made things a little bit clearer.
So what I'll ask is, for those of you guys that have questions about the scheme itself, if you still have questions, go ahead and set those into me, and I will, Donna, I'm going to ask you something next that you might, and I'll circle back to, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you something next that you might not know the answer to, and if that is the case, I apologize. And I need to, I mean, I'm going through a lot of questions here, so let me just, here we go. Hearing that the ITIL information will be online is a good thing. This is from Brian. However, that might also incur a cost. Question, will we need to join on some site similar to CompTIA or PMI to access that information? Will we need to do anything similar to earning PDUs to EUs like those other certifications entail? Great question. Thanks, Brian.
So I kind of, I see it as a little bit of two different questions. So my ITIL, right, which is where that information is going to live, is in fact a subscription service. Now, again, if you have an ITIL qualification, you're granted 1 free year subscription. But going forward, it is a subscription service, so there will be a cost associated with that. In terms of the, and I believe that Axelos refers to them as continuing professional development, CPDs. I think that's something that's very much being discussed. It's not anything where there's been any announcement about how that's going to work. So while I get it, PMI has this very kind of specific approach to ensuring, ongoing education, and you have to kind of re-up your certifications today. That type of an approach has not been introduced. But again, the idea of continuing professional development is certainly a conversation that's being had, and that is important. I think in this day and age, we all need to be lifelong learners today. And so kind of more to come on that as we go forward. Next up, Lisa. Now did we lose Lisa?
Yeah, nope, Donna, sorry. We just got some loud feedback. That's okay. So you had used the expression SRE during the presentation, and so I'm going to lead you into one of my very favorite answers, which is, everyone, get out your pen and paper because you're going to hear about this for the rest of your career, and we want credit for it. Can you give us just a sentence on SRE, please?
So SRE stands for Site Reliability Engineering. It's a concept that actually originated with Google and looking at how to manage, high reliability environments. So those environments where you've got changes coming fast and furious, and you need to kind of really strike that balance between making changes quickly and constantly and also maintaining stability. So it really is indicative of a high-performing organizations. Kind of very much like DevOps, site reliability engineering kind of initially was really, they were practices that were being used by these big boys, right? Facebook and Google and Amazon, right? These companies that are kind of these traditional web-based companies. But it very much, site reliability is very much found its way into the enterprise. In fact, the person I first learned the concept from, it was from Home Depot, right? So we're seeing, companies that are, especially companies that have really embraced Agile, Lean, DevOps, they're really kind of coming to that understanding that we can't sacrifice quality or speed for stability. We have to figure out how to do it all. And site reliability is really the very, very modern approach to IT operations, where we really look at IT operations from an engineering standpoint. So I'm going to leave it there, but it stands for Site Reliability Engineering. And yeah, you know, it's coming and you're going to be hearing more about it this year. It's on our portfolio development calendar, so we're excited about that.
All right, Donna, that was, I think, perhaps the fastest hour of my life, and we are already at time. Any questions that we see about the certification scheme, if we didn't answer them, pop onto our website and use the chat feature, reach out to your practice manager. We're here to help. A lot of people were asking about ITIL practitioner, so in the general chat to everyone, I just sent the link to the course and the course dates. It is an excellent course. I think one of the best in our whole portfolio. Is the primary concept with the value chain basically that each activity is important and work together, but not all are engaged or perform at any given point in time during the service life cycle?
Yes. Really simply put, that was just well articulated, whoever said it. That, yeah.
That was James.
Yeah, that was an awesome way of putting it. They're all important. We do them all at any given point in time, but we don't have to, you know, one of the misinterpretations, I think, of the service life cycle was that you had to do them all. And the reality is that was never the intention, but it's how it got interpreted. That you always have to do strategy and design and transition. So yeah, just these are all important, and we're going to kind of configure them together in different ways, depending on the, you know, the desired outcome.
Thank you. And so this is kind of interesting. Since it's going from 26 processes to 34, is there any industry concern that this is a bloat? I don't personally see it that way, but.
Well, I'm going to answer this the same way I would have answered this in V3 or 2011. First of all, you may not be using all of these practices within your organization, right? For smaller organizations, you may find that some of these just aren't applicable to your organization, or they're not applicable to your organization now, right? So you have to look at your organization's circumstances and needs and introduce these practices at a time and at a level of formality that's appropriate for your organization. And that concept of a level of formality is also important. The reality is a lot of these practices you already have in place in your organization. You've maybe not just focused on them in order to, you know, perform them in a more formal way, right? So it's like anything else. If it's not a pain point for you, then that's awesome, right? But if something is an area that you need to focus on in order to improve your organizational agility or to achieve greater operational excellence, right? You need to look at your organization's circumstances and needs and look at what practices are going to help you get there. So it's all a matter of, you know, the degree of formality within which you introduce these practices, if you introduce these practices. The idea is not necessarily that, you know, someday you get to a point where you have all these practices in place in your organization. It's really looking at what capability do you need given your organization's goals and objectives and leveraging those practices that are meaningful to you at the level of formality that's appropriate for your organization's needs.
Awesome, thank you. And then it looks like we're going to be wrapping up with, unless, got a lot of people still on. So if you have any other questions, you've got Donna Knapp, and she's here to answer them. So feel free to send them in. But we do have a bunch of questions about the book. So firstly, do I understand correctly that the ITIL 4 core publications, there will be a book for each qualification?
Correct. That's our current.
And ITSM Academy is currently considering whether we're going to add the book into the bookstore. It is ready for pre-order on TSO, and they currently have it in print version available for pre-order. They also have a PDF version and are looking at a digital version. And unfortunately, I don't know quite their definite definitions of what those two things mean, but by next month's webinar, more on 4, we'll have those answers for you guys. Anything else on the books on your end, Donna?
No, I mean, I think that's that. It's just that there's going to be a book that focuses on each of the individual qualifications.
Okay, and what I'm getting on my final request for questions was just how awesome you are, which, you know, I know.
And remember that the books are going to be underpinned by, you know, My Idol. And so there's going to be online resources as well that are more dynamic, right? And kind of represent the living part of the library. So, you know, it's going to be a really robust library as we go forward.
Oh, and I misspoke. Truthfully, I hadn't scrolled down because I've never had 3 pages of questions before. What is the deadline to achieve those 17 credits?
So, well, the one definitive, not even definitive, but the one thing we're hearing really consistently is that the earliest that ITIL 3-2011 will be retired is June of 2020. So that's the only kind of end date. And even that is, right, hear the words, the earliest, which means it might live on even further than that. So that's the only kind of time frame I can give you that answers that question.
They have guaranteed, however, that we'll have at least 6 months notice, and our partners at Axelis have kind of said to us, and at least it's going to be more than that. And that's something that we will definitely help guide you guys through. Another question on the scheme. I have ITIL 3 Foundation. If I take 4 Foundation and the ITIL Strategist and ITIL Leader, I can then certify for Strategic Leader.
Yes, correct.
Yes. If you have Managing Professional and Strategic Leader, does that make you a master, or will there be another avenue to master? And hey, Mike.
Yeah, there will be another avenue to master. You know, master exists in the current scheme, and it will kind of continue in the current scheme in its current form until they change it. So, you know, what we've been told is that, you know, master will also be a qualification in the new scheme. The criteria for how you become a master may evolve in time. But for right now, there's no changes imminent in terms of how you achieve ITIL Master, and that criteria consists of being able to kind of demonstrate your capability, demonstrate through a project, and by going in front of a committee and being able to demonstrate that you do in fact understand this stuff and that you have in fact successfully applied these concepts in an organization. So it's not, there's not if you are a managing professional and a strategic leader, that equals master scenario. Master is, you know, if you look at ITIL Foundation, right, these are kind of qualifications in and of themselves.
Okay, and
was that my Cardinal?
No, actually it was Weaver. But Mike Cardinal was on, and he was tweeting up a storm. So everything brilliant you just said is out in the universe.
I thought of Mike Cardinal when I did my little dovetail image because I know he's a woodworker.
Well, when you said Deming, several people, for those of you that don't know, we have a little game here, hashtag Donna said Deming, and whether it's coffee or in the evenings, beer, when Donna says it, everybody gets to drink, and people are on to the game, Donna, because so many people chatted in like, oh my God, you and Chantel must be so happy. So I think this has been asked and answered, but let me just, is the ITIL practitioner the same as ITIL specialist on the slide 20 on slide 20? And the answer to that is no.
No, ITIL practitioner is really a qualification that is part of the V3 2011 scheme, and the information that's covered in ITIL practitioner today will be absorbed into these different certifications that we see in ITIL 4. So, you know, think about it. It's very reasonable to think that a significant part of what's covered in practitioner is going to be in direct plan and improve, right? Because a lot of what practitioner covers is just that, right? Your approach to continual improvement, the guiding principles, those types of things. So ITIL practitioner in its current form will, you know, will continue to allow you to acquire credits, right, as part of your journey to getting to 17 credits, but it will be absorbed. It'll ultimately, the content will ultimately be absorbed into other parts of the 4 scheme.
Thank you. And yes, the My ITIL will be available for students, and in the thank you for attending. We'll go ahead and throw that link. Thank you for attending email that we're going to send. We will go ahead and put that link in there for you guys. And
that's available now. I mean, if you you know, it's something that and here's the, and we'll send it out again, but here's the link. You know, My ITIL is kind of up and running now. The details of the practices aren't out there yet. You know, we'll see those coming when we see, you know, after we see ITIL 4 officially launched. I don't have a time frame on it, but you know, sometime after the official launch, we'll see more information specifically about ITIL 4 added. But it's out there now, and there's lots of great papers and case studies and lots of great information out there to help you now. So if you go to this page, it kind of walks you through how to sign up for your membership. And if you've already got a certification, you get 1 year free. So sign up today.
okay, good. We actually got asked that question. Someone had received it in 2013, and I didn't know that, so I was planning on asking Axelos. So I'll bubble that up with them. And then if you can go back to the scheme, please, one more time.
And I'm sorry, Axelos, if I now just sent a whole bunch of people your way, but I think they're very excited about getting folks engaged. So I don't, you know. Okay.
Okay. I have ITIL V3 Foundation. What do I need to do to be an ITIL managing professional?
So
I think it's that little, the ITIL expert bridge class in Brown is the place that people are getting a little confused.
So it depends. If all you hold is ITIL Foundation and you have no desire to kind of go through, you know, getting 17 credits, you will have to take ITIL 4 Foundation in order to then enter into the scheme. So that's kind of simple, straightforward answer. If all you hold is ITIL Foundation and you're not interested in going on the journey to get you 17 credits, and I would understand that, you'll need to take ITIL 4 Foundation. And we're actually going to be offering kind of an accelerated course for people who hold ITIL 3 Foundation. And then you can enter into the 4 scheme. If you hold an ITIL expert, if you're an ITIL expert, or if you hold 17 credits, you do not have to take ITIL 4 Foundation. What you do have to take is managing professional transition, which will embody a lot of what's covered in Foundation, right? It will introduce a lot of the key concepts that are in Foundation. So if you're an expert, you don't have to take ITIL 4 Foundation, but you do, in fact, have to take managing professional transition.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Donna. And thanks for hanging out and letting me kind of finish these questions.